a lot for me to set up this camera and press the record button because I've just been really nervous and unsure of myself on whether this is something I want to do, something I want to share.
So today is January 18th, and a month ago today, on December 18th, I had top surgery at Hahnemann Hospital in Philadelphia.
A lot of footage that I didn't really know what I wanted to do with. I just knew I needed to film.
Couple weeks, I leave back to California, back to school right now.
And just last week, I realized some visible dark hairs, kind of like to the sides of my lips,
someone
going
people
up here.
can look up to in the trans community. I just want to help out. Yeah, I think I like the way that I look. It's an interesting feeling.
Recognizing myself more in the mirror every day,
I'm proud of myself,
positive person I always try to be.
and I cannot wait for my future.
My name is Avery Fox. I'm 21 years old, and I'm from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. I was really confused growing up. I didn't know when I was young. I didn't know that I was trans when I was 5. I didn't know when I was 15. I was just really unhappy with kind of a lot of aspects of my life, and a lot of it having to do with my physical body. Never feeling skinny enough, never feeling pretty enough, always feeling like I needed to wear makeup when I went out in public. I just wasn't normal, and I didn't know why, and I always tried to be normal. That was always my goal. It's literally the words that I used when I was complaining to my mom why I was sad when I was younger. I just want to be normal. I just want to be like the other kids. But I didn't know what it was.
Avery was probably, I would say, 5 years old, and his brother wrestled on a wrestling team. And all Avery did was want to wrestle on the wrestling team. We would sit on the back, and he was, would do all the exercises. It was all the boys all over the gym, and it was Avery in the back doing all the exercises, all the wrestling moves, because that's what he wanted to do.
Avery never said, I feel like a boy at age 5, or I'll only wear boy clothes, or anything like that. Nothing whatsoever. I would almost joke a little bit saying, I did notice that the kid had no rhythm to dance whatsoever. And I thought that was, it was actually noticeable to me. I mean, zero. And not as a young child, but even as a young teenager. My parents got divorced almost around the same age I was as Avery is, or was, a couple years ago. And I know in my case, it was a relief.
I didn't expect it. At first, I didn't know why it was happening. I was just told that it was because it wasn't working out anymore.
It's always a parent's or a child's dream or to have a normal life and to have your parents still married no matter what, on the one hand. On the other hand, if you can think things through and understand that maybe it's better for both of them, and unfortunately everyone suffers during the process.
I don't know if it really ever came to him as a shock or not, but it was horrible for him. And Avery is this fair person. Avery could be very black and white. So it was very important for him to spend like exactly the same amount of time with me as he did it with his father.
When my parents explained to me that it would be hard for some time, but ultimately in the end we'd all come out of it happier, I remember in that moment having an epiphany. Did that mean I was allowed to change? I was allowed to not be this perfect girl that I thought my parents wanted, that I thought society wanted? My life had always been about pleasing others and doing what was expected of me. Now I had grown to the point where I wanted to find myself. I needed to. And the first thing I did was pack up my bags and move across the country for college.
I had the most amazing year. I had a lot of time to think about myself and what I wanted. And along with that came me realizing that my gender that I was born with is not necessarily the gender that I want to be.
I was really scared to come out to my dad. I decided not to tell him until 3 weeks before my top surgery date. And it was mostly just because I was using his insurance, so I needed to tell him. And I know that's bad, but he scared me so much, and I don't know why. I mean, growing up, there was lots of fighting. I mean, I just saw him as this like angry, traditional, masculine man that would not be okay at all with any part of it. And so I called him on the phone mid-November, and he said, hello? He said, hey Dad, what's up? And I told him that I wanted to talk to him about something, and that I would really appreciate if he let me say everything I needed to say before he said anything. Because I didn't want there to be anything confusing. So I just knew I had to say everything I needed to say, and I told him that I wanted him to ask questions. I encouraged him to ask questions that I wanted him to understand in the best way possible for him, someone who I thought had no idea at all about what trans is. I just wanted him to understand me as best as he could. So I started off by telling him how unhappy I'd been for the past few years, how much I hated looking at myself in the mirror, all the pressure that I felt to be a certain way. I just wanted him to understand how unhappy I was before I told him what I was going to do about it, because he didn't know I was unhappy at all. No one knew. I was a pretty good liar, and the next thing he said took me completely by surprise, which was that he was sorry that I'd been feeling this way for so long, and he can't imagine what it must have been like to have to hide it from him. He told me that he loved me, and that he was there for me.
But when I got the phone call, I was blindsided and was not consulted or discussed ahead of time. Hey, I'm thinking of doing this. And that was one thing I was a little surprised at Avery, because he often would do that. Now, I don't say often, but would do that, especially for big decisions. So I was a little surprised at that, and I thought that was a little out of character. At the same time, I remember when I hung up the phone and talking about it, that perhaps it told me that that's how important it was, how strong that he felt, that he felt it for, it told me for many years actually, which I was completely unaware of. So it was kind of a double-edged sword with the way that was handled. You know, I think it did at the same time tell me that this decision was not lightly.
Since I hit puberty, my chest had been my biggest insecurity. I just knew I didn't like them at all. I had size triple Ds, sadly. But as I transitioned and as I was learning my trans identity and I was realizing that top surgery or something of the sort was an option, it was a black and white decision.
I was like imagining last night, like before I went to sleep, like being strapped down to the bed and like them like doing the do.
Way to be unprepared.
Where's my slipper?
Oh, is she whining?
Yes.
Boy.
Hi. We'll see you when you have no boobies.
Once I learned what top surgery was, it was a no-brainer. And my mom understood that too. I think she could just tell by the way I talked about it, that it was something I wanted done as soon as possible.
He explained it to me and I understood why. And I understood why when he looked in a mirror it was so important for those to be gone. So I think I started the next day trying to figure out how we would get it done. And you know, by that time he had been binding for a while and I hadn't known he was binding. So once he expressed that to me, it was for many reasons. It was for health reasons. I didn't want to see him binding anymore. I know it's really uncomfortable and it really hurts and it's really bad medically to have to wrap yourself up like that. And mentally, I can't even imagine what that was like every day, having to hide yourself. So actually, once I understood that, it was really important for me to make sure that he was healthy and that we could take care of it as soon as possible.
After getting top surgery, especially the day after, the week after, I just remember feeling just so excited and giddy and childish. I mean, I was being taken care of, and there was nothing there. It was weird. I would just keep touching my chest, and there was nothing there, and there were like parts of my chest that I'd never seen before because of how large my chest was. I just couldn't. It was absolutely wild. I remember a week after surgery, the first time I was allowed to take a shower. Not even thinking about it, I started dancing in the shower, and I realized in that moment that I never danced in the shower before. And that was a really big moment for me. It was, I don't know, it seemed so small, but I was just like, is this how I'm supposed to feel? Am I supposed to be happy like this? And do normal people dance in the shower? I don't know. And then I started asking my friends and they're like, yeah. I was like, oh. And I just, I never did because I couldn't even look down. I don't know. I could breathe, finally. And then it just, as the months went on, connecting with my body only got easier, and I only got happier. When I first discovered that I identified as non-binary, transmasculine, and then now as a trans man, testosterone was always, on the table as something that I could do, similar to when I discovered that top surgery was a thing. I knew I wanted to do it. It was black and white, but testosterone was always a decision that was full of many different colors. Because there were a lot of things that would go into it. It wasn't like top surgery with had a chest, now I don't. A lot happens with testosterone. Some things that you don't really know about, some things that you might not like, some things that are irreversible. So it was a bigger decision. I started on a low dose, moved up to a normal dose a few months later. My doctor just wanted to start me off low, get my body used to it. I've been on T for about 1 year and 4 months now, and a lot has changed.
My name's Avery, and this is my voice, 3 weeks on T.
My name is Avery Fox, and this is my voice, 5 weeks on T.
My voice, 6 weeks on T.
8 weeks on T.
2 months and 2 weeks on T.
3 months on T.
3 months and 2 weeks on T.
What's up? My name's Avery Fox, and this is my voice. Oh God, 4 months and 1 week on T.
And this is my voice, 7 months on T.
9 months on testosterone.
1 year on testosterone.
And this is my voice, 1 year and 3 months on testosterone.
Hi, my name is Avery Fox, and this is my voice, pre-T.
I've known that I was non-binary since about 2013. I think I kind of knew So wow, a little over 7 years ago. I always knew that I was LGBTQ. Like I had feelings, but without, at the time, about 10 years ago, the words existed, but the knowledge was not widespread. So I didn't know what to call myself or what to, label myself as. So I didn't for a really, really long time. I just sort of like simmered in my confusion. So I knew for a really long time, and I never came out because why would I? It didn't feel like an option for me for a really, really long time. And the summer that Avery came out to me, and that was beginning of the summer, I had planned my coming out to my family.
Thinking back when Killian, before they came out obviously, when they moved to California and they cut off their hair and they changed their name, it sounds a little familiar. I feel like I can't go without saying how subconsciously they helped me in a tremendous way in showing me the option of moving to California, cutting off your hair, changing your name. I mean, I had no idea at the time, but I think they paved the way for me. And I think if you talk to them, I think me transitioning helped pave the way for them to be comfortable and be open about who they are now.
I'd written little speeches and letters and filled notebooks and recorded myself. And then Avery came out to me, which was amazing, but it put a lot of things on hold for me. I felt that it was in Avery's best interest and in mine and my family's for me to just throw my plans out the window, at least temporarily. I was not confident in my family's ability to handle two of us at the same time. So I didn't. I threw out all my speeches. I deleted my recordings. And I just needed to make sure that I was there for Avery. Because I didn't know how my family would react. That was going to be my experiment, and it wasn't. And it quickly became Avery's, and so I needed to make sure that I was 100% there for him as the most supportive big sibling that I could be. So I didn't come out at all, which was fine for a while, but it definitely took its toll.
They came out to our parents only just a few weeks ago, and I'm extremely proud of them. I just want them to be happy, just like they wanted me to be happy and help me through my transition. I just want the same for them, and I'm so happy that they're getting it. And they're a lot older than me, and I'm upset that they didn't feel like they could express themselves sooner. They won't have as much time as me to be their true self, and that's sad.
And admittedly, it was really hard for me to watch him be happy. I was never resentful. I wouldn't even call it jealousy. It was just, I was so happy to see him happy that I was able to sort of put myself on the back burner for a really long time. But the last year, I think, was really, really hard. And I kind of got to this point as far as mentally and emotionally where I saw Avery was in such a better place and so much happier than he'd been. And it wasn't my feeling of, oh, now that I see him happy, I can move forward. It was also seeing my family accept him and love him for who he is. it had to happen where I finally came out. There was no holding back. I thought they've handled him now for like 2 years, and they've proven that they're capable of feeling love for him and support. And it was very much my turn. So I took those steps. And as hard as it has been at times, it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. So I'm grateful to Avery. He helped open those doors without really knowing it at the time, because Avery didn't know anything about how I felt, or that I'd had plans before his coming out. Our parents raised 2 daughters and a son, and now they're down to no daughters in their own way. I mean, that's how they see it, but at the same time, they've gained 2 much happier children who can be themselves for the rest of their lives.
Very proud of Avery. I know I can't imagine, I really cannot imagine being in the shoes of someone that has that, especially for years, that feeling of I'm in the wrong body, or I'm the wrong sexual orientation. It's beyond my imagination so far that I feel bad that in some small way I was responsible.
I needed to get on board. I mean, that was my job as a parent, was to get on board with him. It's his life. I mean, I really tried to teach my kids, I'm living my life, I'm doing my thing. This is their life, this is their path to follow. So he is, he's very, very strong and very sensitive, and I worry for him to be hurt. I hope he finds incredible love, because that's what he deserves. And I'll always worry, but it's a better world now than it was for me growing up. So I trust that he's gonna have everything in life that he wants and needs.
What people don't understand, I think, about like this transition process is that like they think that people change fundamentally, when really it's, you know, often the same person just showing their best side and showing the world like, this was who I was all along, but now I get to be as authentic as literally physically possible. And Avery has shown that in such an amazing way. Avery has always been Avery, and will just continue to be better and be the best version of himself. And that's the only thing I think anyone can add to this, is that, you know, it might be a journey, but in the end, like, Avery's Avery, and is gonna be like an awesome Avery.